Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the Marvel's Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure. Here we have the Iron Man Tony Stark AI figure, or artificial intelligence. This is the Tony Stark based on the Ironheart comics run, I believe, where Tony Stark kind of died at the end of Civil War II, but didn't really. He did something to his body which kept his body from dying, so I think he was still technically alive. You know, comics. But in that particular comic run, he had an artificial intelligence form of himself, which, you know, kind of manifested into this hologram look. So we get the Tony Stark head. I think a figure actually would have been pretty cool, but we're getting so many Iron Man figures. So I've always thought that this figure was weird to not have been included in the Iron Man wave. Now, I get it. Lots of Iron Man figures. Would this really fit? They're already doing a hologram figure. And then this figure's already being used for the stealth suit. So it's like, do you put two of the same exact damn figure in the wave? I think they could have. This one, it just feels a little out of place for me, other than the fact that, you know, there is a Mandarin figure in this wave, so that can kind of be the loose tie-in. Just all kinds of weird. But anyway, we get an Iron Man logo there in the front, Iron Man logo up at the top, Marvel's Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure, side artwork of the Tony Stark AI head on top of the old classic body. That looks really cool. Looking at the back of the package, we get that same artwork. We have all the figures in the wave. We are on the last figure, so the next video will be the Build-A-Figure for Mr. Hyde. The bio for the Tony Stark AI figure reads, after a tragic battle, Tony Stark lives on in digital form as a hologram at the helm of high-powered robotic suit of armor. A high-powered robotic suit of armor. So there it is. Let's get this thing opened up. Okay, so here is the Tony Stark AI figure out of the package, and kind of not sure what else to expect other than it's the same as the 80th anniversary Iron Man figure. Literally the same exact thing, but we get a brighter red and we get a nice yellow as opposed to the gold. Now this gives it that very classic look from the comics where, you know, in order to do a gold color, they would just use yellow. So it comes off really classic looking, so that is cool. But the real highlight of this figure is actually going to be that Tony Stark head. So that is all brand new, and it actually has some pretty cool things to it, even if it's really hard to tell. So to get a couple of things out of the way, here we have the right leg Build-A-Figure to Mr. Hyde. We are going to throw that off to the side. Here we have his accessories. He comes with the repulsor blast in the same translucent plastic color as his head sculpt, which we've seen these repulsor blasts used over and over and over and over and over again. Here we have the repulsor blast hands. These are the ones that are not hinged, so you can just pop them onto the figure, and there you can have his repulsor blast, and that looks pretty cool, like that. And we also have the Iron Man helmet, which does look pretty good, because if you look at it, we get that nice turquoise or light blue color inside for the eyes and for the mouth slit, so it has that glow effect look to it. So that is pretty good, but again, I really like how the red and yellow look together. So now let's take a closer look at the Tony Stark head sculpt, and as you can see there, it's really hard to see the features of it, but what they did do is add a little bit of color to it in certain spots, and that's going to be like the hair and his eyes. So I don't know how well it's going to come on camera, but for his eyes, you get a little bit of blue in there. It almost looks like if you put a highlighter on top of like a window or some glass or something, where it's just ever so subtle, but you see it. So his facial hair, so we get a little bit under his chin there, a little bit for his mustache, we get some for the eyebrows, and then the little bit of hair that comes down onto his forehead. It's hard to tell if it got any of that color as well, but it's there. It's just very, very subtle. But I really like the way it looks. The sculpt of it, the sculpt of the hair. I know it's hard to tell because it's translucent, but it all looks very, very good. Now, if only we can actually get a head sculpt full on like this. You know, we have several different Tony Stark ones, which I will show you in some comparisons here pretty soon. But this one looks damn good, and I'm curious to see how it would look in actual skin tone flesh color, because this thing looks awesome. I really like it. But again, it's just the subtlety of the color of the facial hair that comes off. But man, you really have to appreciate it in hand to really see it. But damn it, looks really, really nice. The rest of the figure, we get this baby blue color there for the arc reactor, and that's it. Nothing else. Now we just get all the molded plastic color pieces of the yellow and reds going on there. But damn, that head sculpt looks really good. So let's zoom out for the articulation. Even though this figure's been used a couple of times now, we'll still go over it. Okay, so Tony Stark AI articulation. He can't look down that much. He can look up all the way, so that is good. Full rotation in there. You get some pivot going on. You can get the arms to go up that high. Full rotation, of course. Upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow, which only gives you that much because the bicep and the forearm hit each other. So it's just about 90 degrees. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. Again, the interchangeable repulsor blast hands do not have a hinge on them. Ab crunch, he can crunch forward that much, not a whole lot. He can go back a little bit, not a huge amount. We have a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that high, which is decent. You have upper thigh cut there. You get a double jointed knee like so. You have a boot swivel right at the top of the boot there. Foot hinges all the way down. You get good hinge up, ankle pivot, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So that is pretty good. One thing I do want to point out is because there's no paint on this guy, whereas I think this one actually had paint over the plastic parts, they feel very, very different. This one feels cheap compared to this one, even though, you know, the plastics are going to be the same, but it's just kind of the texture of it that just feels a little bit differently. You know, we got a metallic red plastic for like the torso in pieces, so you know it just naturally feels a little different. It's kind of weird to explain. Again, it's one of those things, you know, having it in hand you'll really kind of see what I'm talking about. So it's just weird. It just feels very smooth and yeah, it's just weird how the texture of the plastic versus, you know, the gold paint, because there's no way they would get the plastic to look that gold. They had to have painted that, right? Pretty sure. But anyway, so let's see those Tony Stark heads I was talking about. Okay, so here are 3 Iron Man figures. So we have the 80th anniversary from the left. We have the new one here in the Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure Wave. And then we have here, this was from the Okoye Build-A-Figure Wave. This is the all new, all different Iron Man, or the Invincible Iron Man when it started that new comic run. And I believe that's the same suit that he had up until Civil War II when he died at the end of that particular event. So you would think that they would just reuse this Tony Stark head sculpt and just do it in a translucent plastic, which I guess now that I'm looking at it though, there is a big size difference between the figures as well and the head sculpts. This head definitely looks a lot larger than this one, so maybe that's the reason why this one will probably look funny on this bulkier body compared to this one. I guess. I still really like this Tony Stark head one. That one is a very good classic one, but this new one is actually probably my favorite, so that way it just kind of sucks that we don't get to see it, you know, an actual human head with the skin tone and everything. We get the holographic, you know, artificial intelligence version, but it just looks so good. Man, that's too bad. Going back to this real quick too, because, you know, Civil War II leading up until Ironheart, this was the suit that he had. This is the Tony Stark look. Then we have this figure in this wave, and then in the Iron Man wave, the Ursa Major Build-A-Figure wave, we get the Ironheart Riri Williams. So it's like this figure goes with Riri Williams, but they separated it in waves. Just some weird things. I'm just kind of thinking out loud on kind of what's going on in there. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, which one is your favorite Tony Stark head? Is it the 80th Anniversary Classic? Is it this brand new holographic one, hologram? Or is it the one from the Okoye Build-A-Figure wave? I think the middle one is the best, but you guys let me know in the comments below. Okay, so I know this is going to come up. People are going to wonder, does the hologram head fit on the different one? So it should fit on the 80th Anniversary Iron Man because it's the same body mold. So as you can see there, that actually looks really cool as well. I think I do like the brighter red and yellow more, but that definitely does work. Let's pop that off. Let's go on to the Invincible Iron Man suit. And it does, but as you can see, it is crazy loose. But you could make it work, and that actually doesn't, the size doesn't look too off. I mean, maybe a little bit big for the body, since it is a little bit more of a slender body shape, but it works. Okay, so my final thoughts on this Iron Man figure. It's awesome that we get this super classic bright red and bright yellow Iron Man figure, but it's another Iron Man on top of the fact that we are getting an Iron Man wave that has the stealth Iron Man suit, the modular Iron Man, a hologram Iron Man. So 3 Iron Man figures in that wave already, and now here 1 or 2 waves before that one comes out. Who knows? These releases are kind of all screwy right now. But another Iron Man figure. Now, I don't mind getting all of these different figures. They are all different in their own way. But at some point, there's just too many too close together, in my opinion. But you guys can let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on that. Again, this figure I think is going to be one of the more popular figures from the wave because of the classic look to it and that Tony Stark head sculpt. This thing is just beautiful. I mean, look at how good this looks. Yeah, that is so good. So, definitely worth the pickup in my opinion, but you guys can let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.